Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to tackle a really big question. How do you make the leap from just tinkering with automations to becoming a top-tier automation engineer that businesses will trust with their most important systems? So, what's the secret sauce that separates a simple script from a rock-solid enterprise-grade system? Honestly, it's not just about being a better coder. The real jump is in how you think, how you plan for when things inevitably go wrong, and most importantly, how you guarantee real business value.
And this slide, this just nails the difference, doesn't it? The hobbyist is thrilled because, hey, it works on my machine. But the pro, they're thinking about that 99.9% uptime. They're obsessed with it. They aren't just slapping on quick fixes, they're building for scale. And for the person who has to maintain it 6 months from now, it's a totally different ballgame.
So yeah, this brings us to the first and maybe the most important leap you have to make. And it's not about learning a new app or a new programming language. It's a change in your philosophy. Before you write a single line of code for a client, you have to decide that reliability is your #1 job.
And I love this quote because it just perfectly captures that shift. This isn't just a clever line. It's a fundamental rule to live by. A true professional owns the system. They build it so they are the first to know something's wrong, not the client. You stop being a firefighter and start being the architect of a fireproof building.
Okay, so you've got the professional mindset locked in. Now what? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how that actually translates into your work. How do we turn those fragile little scripts into the kind of unbreakable systems that clients are happy to pay big money for?
Here is the golden rule, the absolute #1 thing to remember. Professionals do not build in the live environment, period. There's a strict path to follow. You build it on your own machine, then you move it to a staging area that's an exact copy of the real thing for testing. And only when it passes everything do you push it live, and even then, you've got to have a rollback plan ready to go. And what about when an outside service you depend on goes down? Well, a hobbyist script might just panic. It'll keep hammering that dead API over and over, probably bringing everything else down with it. A pro, on the other hand, uses what's called a circuit breaker. If an API fails a couple of times, the circuit trips, tells the system to take a breath, and gives that service time to recover. It's like an automatic safety valve.
All right, this is where things get really cool. Once you have that solid, unbreakable foundation, you can start building some truly intelligent systems. We're talking about moving beyond simple A to B workflows and into orchestrating teams of AI agents that can actually reason and tackle complex jobs.
You know, a huge part of being a pro is knowing which tool to pull out of the toolkit. For a simple, one-shot task, the Chat Completions API is perfect. But for a long, complex conversation that needs to remember things, access files, and use other tools, well, then you have to reach for the Assistance API. Knowing when to use which is absolutely key. And this is the top tier. Instead of having one giant AI brain try to do everything, you build a team of specialists. You have a main orchestrator agent that acts like a project manager. It gets a request, breaks it down into smaller pieces, and then hands off those tasks to other agents. One for research, one for math, one for writing. It's incredible. Let's be real, enterprise systems are messy, right? Just think about a simple online order. It has to talk to inventory, payments, shipping, all different systems. A pro's real genius isn't just making that work, it's about gracefully handling what happens when any one of those pieces breaks. So how do the pros handle this mess? They use a clever design called the saga pattern. It's basically a way to make sure a really complex, multi-part job is all or nothing. If any single step in the chain fails, the whole system knows how to automatically undo everything it just did, leaving everything nice and clean.
So let's walk through it. When everything goes right, what we call the happy path, it's simple. An order comes in, the system reserves the item, it charges the credit card, and boom, it creates the shipping label. Easy peasy. But what happens when things go wrong? Because they always do, right? Let's say the shipping API just dies. This is where the real professional magic kicks in. The saga pattern sees the failure and immediately starts walking backward. It refunds the credit card, and then it tells the warehouse to put that item back on the shelf. It's like the order never even happened. No mess, no angry customers. Okay, so we've gone deep on the tech, the mindset, the patterns, but how do you actually turn all this into a high-paying career? How do you justify that professional rate?
Look, that number, $150 an hour, it isn't just a number you pull out of thin air. You're not getting paid just to code. You are getting paid for your expertise, for risk management, and for giving a business the peace of mind that their critical systems are going to work no matter what.
And that's why the pros price things differently. It's not just about your time. You start with your hours and your rate, sure, but then you add multipliers. How complex is this system? And more importantly, how much financial risk is it managing? An automation moving $1 million a month is a lot more valuable than one that posts to Twitter.
And when you get to this level, your portfolio just looks different. We're not talking about small helper scripts anymore. We're talking about engineering entire autonomous business units, building systems that handle complex legal regulations, or creating engines that process thousands of data points every single hour. These are the projects that solve huge, expensive business problems.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. Yeah, your automation works, but is it professional? Is it built to last? Is it built to fail gracefully? Because that is the leap that creates true, lasting value.